This is the True Detective Podcast by BleedTV. I'm Zack.
I'm Jake.
And I'm Cash.
And this is us covering Season 3, Episode 4.
Halfway there.
This is what is this?
The hour in the day?
The hour in the day?
Yeah, the hour in the day, I do believe.
The hour in the day. Hour in the day.
And this one was done by Pizzolatto himself.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. We're doing this a little early. Usually we have a day to digest the episode, but we're doing it right after watching it. And
I think this is our first time to all watch the episode and everything. Like, very rarely are we all able to get together and watch it together and kind of spitball while we're watching it.
I'm not going to lie to you, man. My mind's swimming. This episode had so much going on, so many things to throw at you, like, is this going to stick? Is that going to stick?
I mean, it felt like a lot of filler with red herrings that I was eating up every bit of it. I mean, we were all sitting there like, oh, is that guy? Is it that guy?
Yeah, I mean, because, you want to believe it's like the old Law and Order where, this is the episode where you're likely going to see the guy. Maybe he passes through or this, that, or so on. They give you the visual, and you're like, don't miss it. Don't miss it. But I didn't get that feeling this episode. I think there was people everywhere.
I mean, especially since we had all the clues and stuff. I mean, they were giving us pieces of the people and stuff. Like, we had the guy with the eye, glazed over eye and everything, so we went and check him out. Then we have a few of the other people. We get the churchgoers. We find out that we did have the kids' fingerprints from a school fair or something earlier in the day. We're starting to get all that. The list compiled.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. But
I still don't think we've seen the person yet, though.
I don't think so either. But,
Jake, what are you thinking?
Before we dive into the episode, I want to do one thing real quick. First of all, I want to say thank y'all to everybody because our podcast broke into the top 100 for iTunes, which was amazing for us. We got tons of comments, feedbacks, emails, stuff like that from everybody talking about our theories and how they enjoyed this and comparisons. And so I think from all of us, we really, really appreciate it. It blew us away after this last week. I mean,
that was something we never thought we would get to or anything.
Yeah, we've always had good communication, always, this, that, or so on, but
to break the top 100 is huge.
Breaking the top 100, being like that was great. So I really appreciate it, and we got a lot of really positive reviews on iTunes and Stitcher. So if you're enjoying what you're hearing, guys, and you hadn't done that yet, please continue to do so. That is helping us out tremendously. And again, just thank you for that. But let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into the episode. All right. What about it, bro? You hadn't said a whole lot.
No, well, this episode was weird to me because I feel like Cash was saying, it was like a lot of filler. Mm-hmm. I have this feeling where it's like maybe they wanted you to feel like it was a lot of filler, but really they were showing you things or, hitting you in the head with something, but you're not realizing it. I mean, it was hard because I'll be honest, this is some of the best writing for an episode I think we've had yet.
I agree.
I mean, quick comebacks and just Hayes alone
him and Roland. Oh gosh,
nonstop little one-liners and stuff like that. I mean,
and best comedy by far.
Oh, I mean, best dark comedy, by far.
I mean, this was dark comedy. That's fine. Just in those death stares. Like, I mean, I feel like those were an actor in the first 10 minutes. Like, we're walking to the church, just hardballing everybody.
Yeah, I mean, this episode had a big focus on the racial tension in this era, and then this community, obviously,
the church angle,
all of it,
the trailer park and everything.
Woo. I mean, it just, they really,
they hammered home a lot of tense situations from this time in Arkansas. So. I mean, we're going to talk about the South and everything like that. So, I don't know, man. It's like I really love the episode. But I don't feel like necessarily it pushed the story any further.
Yeah,
other than one massive reveal, and that was that the wife's cousin, had been murdered and buried in a quarry.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Yeah,
I mean that, and there's a few little hints and stuff that make me feel like this episode's going to have a little bit to play with it, but almost like you're saying. We could cut this episode out, and it's not going to affect the season in the slightest.
I don't agree with that. I think they gave us a ton of things to look at. Okay. I think they gave us sensory overload with so many angles. You just don't see the dots connect with it, and you won't be able to. And I think that's what makes the show amazing.
Well, yeah, and there's tiny stuff. The ant. Well, she don't have no ants.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. With no name. So we're like, okay.
Do we have any theories on who this ant could be? Because I'm thinking this is going back to the Hoyts. And, I mean, there's a lot of things in this episode that makes me think it's them. But I mean, that's why.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is we did get one mention of the chicken line.
Yep.
By Mr. Whitehead.
Yeah, we're out in the trailer park and everything.
You got to think about it. That is an uncanny reveal coming from a guy that I feel like is likely nothing to do with this.
Yeah, I think
what are the odds?
Can be.
No, I think this guy has absolutely nothing to do with what happened to these kids.
Yeah. I don't see him having the car.
But him dropping just that slight comment that he worked up the chicken line when he can.
Yeah.
It was like...
To me, that's it. That's all that dialogue and all them driving there and all dealing with the traier park and everything like that.
The point is back towards...
purely just for that line. I believe that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
I just... That's why I say you can pick one little breadcrumb out of every scenario they were dealing with. And so on. Another good example is, I think when you see Hayes come in and he's pissed off at Amelia before they get to the bump and grind, tearing the wall down in there, the one, he's communicating to her. I think her reaction to the news of him getting back on the case, this and that, so on, was the breadcrumb. I think, it goes back to, like we said before, we think Amelia is a prime suspect of somebody who could be the culprit or involved in this. Like we said, like a Nightcrawler thing, this and so on. Her reaction to it all, to me, was more about that, and then it turned into the other part.
Well, even at the dinner, when they were sitting there at the restaurant and everything, she is the one that plants the seed, because this is back in the 70s when they're still dating, or the 80s.
Back when they're still
dating,
80s, yeah.
That she's like, do you think it could have been an accident for the little boy?
Right,
she's
key
playing
line.
Like, do you think that maybe it was just like love and everything, and then boom, he's accidentally dead?
They play on that a little bit this episode, and a couple times.
Yeah.
Where he's saying, they're here for the girl. The boy wasn't involved. He would defend her.
But like,
they kept each other safe and they defended each other. Even the priest says it.
Yeah, said that they had each other's back, which is always interesting, thinking that the girl has the boy's back too. It's always a little bit different when the younger sibling is able to have the older sibling's back.
True. I'm just saying,
No, yeah.
They just kept hitting on that little point that
you couldn't separate them.
Maybe Will has nothing to do with it, other than the fact that
he didn't want to let his little baby.
He didn't want his sister to be taken or something. Don't know. But the thing is, too, she's alive, so it's like, what the hell happened? So we don't know these details yet. So, but yeah, I like I said, man, this episode's so weird. It was very entertaining. It was excellent, captivating, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know where to spin any of this stuff.
No, and I don't know where it's going to lead any of us. And like, ultimately, I don't think it's going to lead us many places. Like, I think it's just enough to get our meters going a little bit more one way or the other.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about this. All right, the things we need to conclude. All right, the priest was heavily looked at. Mm-hmm. They said that we believe it's one of your parishioners that is guilty of the crime.
So 1,000 people.
Of 1,000 people, and so on. The priest says that he made the comment, like we talked about a second ago, that an aunt plays with them, special occasion. We don't have an aunt, and so on. And then we don't have many African Americans, and he doesn't recall anybody who has a bad eye or is black
or a scar
so
on
on.
Their face,
right? And so and then of course, like y'all said, they were great kids and they stuck up for each other. That is what the church angle presented this episode.
But it also made the priest look really creepy.
Oh,
when they're looking at the photos,
yeah,
and he's like, "Why are they all posed this way?" He's, "Oh, well, who took the photos? I did."
Yeah.
Why is Will's eyes closed? Oh, I guess he blinked. I'm like, ugh. You come off real creepy.
There was something fishy about that.
West agreed when he got in the car. I don't like this guy.
Immediately, just like straight, it was like,
somebody who doesn't screw.
I'm not saying he did or anything, but I don't like him.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I really feel like they cast this guy and bet like this just to make the viewer go, it could be him. You know what I mean? But I don't believe that for a second.
No, I don't believe it's him either.
Yeah.
I think he was purposely cast and written for in this form just to come off creepy.
But tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me there are people out there that are like, the priest could have done it.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, 100%.
Not only that,
and he could have done it.
The whole thing of it's the Catholic Church. You know what I mean? Is the wolf in sheep's clothing, all that kind of stuff. It's one of those hot topics. You know what I mean? When things were at that time were out of control and blah blah blah. You know, and I think that's where the pictures and his creepiness comes from and all that. You know what I'm saying?
No, I agree. I mean, but it's undeniable. I mean, he is a suspect now.
Right.
I mean, I think Roland hit it on the head. It's just we don't like him. Like, I mean, I think it's going to be as simple as that by the end of this episode.
The other thing the priest does bring to the table is he lets you know who makes the dolls. Okay, I thought that was a good piece of information. They go visit this Patty lady. She makes them. No big deal. You know, again, throws out the racial tension slur.
Man, the tension in that room was just unbearable.
Just Hayes' stare. You know, the guy, I mean, he doesn't have to say anything. Just the looks he gives people.
Well, even
it's
West,
like a go F yourself look.
Even West having to put up with it.
Yeah.
You know, is important too.
And how much he's defending him. Like, I mean, this is my partner through and through. Like, I mean, this is a really
Is he good looking? Is he ugly? Well, he's black.
Which is, I mean,
really?
That's just ruthless.
Oh man,
ruthless.
It's cold as
and
hell.
they dress this lady in this big, turtleneck sweater and stuff. It's just like, oh my god,
you're laying it on thick, man.
But okay, so one person bought 2, and then another person bought 10 right after there.
Mm-hmm.
Black
Do
guy
we need to worry about
with a dead eye.
Yeah.
Once again, a black guy with a dead eye. But we don't think it was Whitehead that bought these dolls.
No, not at all.
I mean, he seems as innocent as can be for that situation.
That leads into the Whitehead situation. Again, I felt genuine when they said, hey, you buy some dolls. What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know,
what are you trying to pin on me?
Exactly.
I don't see him having the money. I mean, no offense. I just don't see him having the money to buy 10 dolls right off the bat like that.
The whole thing was just to get the chicken line comment. I really believe that.
And I think we are going to meet the black guy with the scar and the bad eye. And I think it's going to be like a scar that caused a bad eye, like you see on many villains throughout the movies and TV for years.
And here's the other thing too. I'm gonna laugh if we see the not laugh. I'm gonna be like, okay, I hope they don't slap us in the face with that. You see this guy as the driver of a nice car. You know, that could potentially be driving a white woman around. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I think it's very much going to be a driving Miss Daisy kind of thing.
But I think it's going to be that.
I think that's what the only thing we got left that we rationalized to make sense.
But did they ever say it was a black guy and a white woman, or did they say it was a black and white person?
No, it was a black guy. It was a lot like you, a black guy,
but a white woman.
I don't know if they said woman.
Yes.
I think
it was a woman.
He said positive? Woman. Okay, because one of our commenters, I think, said that it didn't say it was a woman. He said it was a black folks and white folks.
Yeah, same as y'all.
I mean, if I end up getting egg on my face, but I'm fairly confident it's black man, white woman.
I'm with you. One of our commenters did say, you guys didn't mention that it could have been the cops themselves, black guy, white, like that, or so on. But I come back to what you thing. I still feel they said a woman.
They very
Plus,
well
we're
could've.
talking about visiting, and this one said visiting an aunt, whatever. So
a lot of my theories go down the drain if it ends up being a black man and a white man. So I'm sticking with what I'm going with.
No doubt. So that's the end of the Whitehead part of it. And then I saw something that was very key. All right, we did a lot of the episode when Roland was a lieutenant. This was 90, and he created a task force and stuff. And there was the scene where he meets the attorney general and this statey cop, and they basically felt like this whole meeting felt like, let's wrap this up so that we cover our asses for our investigation of what we did back 10 years ago.
Well, I mean, not only that, just like the immediate dismissiveness of Hayes.
Well, no, what they were saying was, okay, Julie's not dead, so he obviously didn't murder Julie, but that doesn't mean he's off on the murder of Will.
Correct.
So they want this dude to stay behind bars and to cover their asses.
This makes me feel like the reason this guy gets promoted is by whoever they have in prison right now who's appealing their case was the catapult for this guy's promotion.
Oh, 100%.
And so this means that's why he's in the room. This is why this is going down. I mean, we've seen this before,
Why he's on Donahue.
Yeah, it's the big case.
We see him on TV going, this is our number one thing and everything. We're going to make sure he's behind bars.
Yeah,
we make the big deal of seeing suspects like, oh, we forgot to say happy birthday, 18.
Right.
So, I mean, like, this is definitely why he's in the position that he's in.
Now, the one thing I noticed from this whole scenario, when that was all said and done, and when Hayes is like, you ain't going to do none of that crap, right? And he goes, no, I wouldn't count on it. you see him limping out of the office, and it's very distinctive. Did y'all see this too?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he talks about him getting shot. It assumes he has his limp from his wound.
Yes.
I thought it was a great detail. Something you wouldn't expect, people could overlook, and so on.
Well, man, this is the first time we've seen him in the 90s before, but we haven't seen him with this limp.
Okay, well, that's the thing. I don't think he limps all the time. I think it's when he's been sitting down for a while and he gets up.
Okay, just kind of like a soreness.
Stiff.
Yeah.
Because like more detail.
Well, I've seen him walk. We've seen him walk, and he's not had this limp. So I think it's just when he's sitting down, and he limps when he sits down.
I mean, I'm hoping it's not like one of our Mayans characters and everything, and it just comes out every once in a while.
Oh God, yeah.
No, his foot was just asleep. No big deal.
All right, now I heard this and I wrote this down. Y'all tell me if y'all thought anything of this. The next scene after this, the preacher quotes the Bible. Justice is not ours to deliver. Justice is not in our power. It is in His.
And as he's saying it, the camera's focusing on Hayes and Roland the entire time.
Absolutely, and like it's very stark, like it's on purpose. The audio is higher for him speaking, and you don't see any sound of those guys and how they're moving or anybody talking around them. It is purely focused on what the preacher is saying in the room while they're coming in and giving him the death stare of what all death stares. So, what do we feel like this is? You think this is one of those nuggets in there where you're supposed to see or feel this?
I mean, I think it's just going to be coming down to we don't catch the person in the end. You know, I mean, this comes back to like we've been talking about with True Detective. The bad guy wins.
Yeah, it's what they always talk about with anytime powerful people get off, it's like, they'll get theirs in the end. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like even if you, of the plane of Earth, don't get them, their makers will. It's like it's something you've heard for years and stuff like that. So that makes sense to me. Season 1, I mean, prime example. They get away with it. Yeah, the guy who committed the murders doesn't get away with it, but
the people who paid for everything.
Yeah, but the people who paid him to do his business, all got away. So it's like, I feel like it's leading towards that again in a way. I mean, it's like the powerful people get off.
And then they'll have to pay to a higher person, and we didn't get our justice.
Right.
But it will be served eventually.
All right. We finally get to see the date with Amelia and Hayes in the 80s. And great commentary in this date, by the way. I mean, some of the stuff back and forth. I mean, I think Hayes is very upfront. I got a list of things, and it's getting more detailed. And,
oh, yeah.
Dick holster. He's like, oh, you were just one of those pussy hounds. And he goes, well, I don't like calling it that, What do you call it? And dick holster. But, a lot of flirting, but also, I thought it was important that one of the things brought up, Amelia brings up the case first. Like it's a inquiry for information. And then when it does get brought up again, she's also the one to say, do you think it was an accident that the boy, or whatever like that. Again, those trigger me on both those situations that, leading me to feel like she is more involved in this scenario. Did y'all catch those or feel the same vibe?
100%. Like, I mean, always...
Cash is hot and heavy that Amelia's big-time suspect.
But also,
and I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
But I also feel like it may just be Amelia taking advantage of the situation.
And it very easily could be that because as a writer...
In a more monotonous way. Yes. I mean, non-violent way or whatever you want to call it.
Well, I mean, just trying to gain notoriety and fame.
Is what I would say.
Yeah. Gathering of information.
But, And
that's just that might just be her nature.
Yeah, for the book or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just... She's staying as close to the case as she can.
Yeah, small town and everything.
She sees an opportunity to possibly push forward this career. And we see how motivated she is to do that when you show her in the 90s. I mean, she's like all about it. You see how motivated she is to go ask questions to this detective again we see later on, this cop or whatever.
She's willing to lie. I mean, I'm assuming lie because I'm thinking they're still together because we see her come back and say ex-husband and everything. She's willing to do whatever she can to get this information.
And what I might end up seeing is... We're talking about this a little bit, is that the son, Hayes' son, and the director chick, possible,
love interest or triangle, possibly
an interest.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. And I think it may be a juxtaposition of how Amelia used Hayes to get what she wanted, and they're going to show the director is using his son to get close to him again.
That would be
what I'm saying. Like they're using to get close to the case again. I mean, it's like a honeypot situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just,
Right. Yeah.
So I can easily see it. You know what I mean? Like they're just moving the era, and instead he's using the sun to get near
That'd
him.
be really interesting, and I kind of hope that's what ends up happening with this, because
I think all of it is what Hayes is going to end up figuring out, is the fact that Amelia used him.
Mm-hmm.
Like I agree with you that Amelia comes off looking like a heavy suspect a lot of times.
Well, and just how she's eating the salad, I know it has nothing to do with it really. Makes me think she's a psychopath. Anyone who's just eating tomatoes straight like that just a piece of lettuce.
Here we go.
I'm sorry, you're a psychopath.
Your train is derailed, but okay. All right. Well, we talked to the director. They made a point to slap the viewer with, look, two wine glasses. And, hey, did I disturb you? You got a friend here? You know what I mean? Like, do we really feel like that's, really important to the story? Or
I mean,
it was pretty ham-fisted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I mean, I've kind of, like, we were talking about this in the second episode, I think, it might have been the last episode, when his son was not necessarily holding her hands, but being very close and like, hey, we've got to cut this right now and everything. And so, like, I mean, I definitely feel like they've been painting this for a little bit.
Okay. Well, I'm just, I
don't think they show anything for no reason.
I agree with that.
Now, I realize,
but I also think they show you things to make you think the wrong direction.
Well, to derail you, yes, but not for no reason. And him coming in and seeing the two wine glasses, I'm like, I mean, it just makes sense that, that was there for a good reason. You know what I mean? Not just to be.
She does drop the bomb, and she gives one folder that shows the body of the
cousin,
Dan O'Brien, the cousin, which they used to call Uncle, and which I really appreciated the show. They showed the photo, and then they showed a quick shot of what you remember him as when they interviewed him at the house. I appreciate that. That's good, because a lot of people are like, who? I can imagine that being totally.
And it's making sure, like, hey, this is who we want you to be, who he is, and everything.
And the pictures of the body look authentic. I wonder if that's like an archive picture of somebody real, instead of something that was special effects made.
Wouldn't be that hard to do what they did.
Yeah, I mean,
it was impressive.
Yeah, you just Google search probably one of those things. And
all right,
it pops
so
up.
what do we think this means? She makes the communication that he was. Did they actually say he was murdered and found in a quarry, or did they say they found remains in a quarry?
They found his remains buried in a quarry.
And dental records proved that he was Dan O'Brien.
Yes.
The cousin to Lucy.
People don't get buried in quarries. They get buried in graveyards.
Yeah.
So
we're going
together.
I mean, so then
it could have been an accident.
Odds are he didn't fall off a dozer,
into a hole that was just there that somehow got filled.
And he got filled in right behind him. Yeah.
But and so like this is another thing that's going to lead me down to the Hoyts. It kind of looks like pieces connected to these children are just disappearing.
Or screw the Hoyts, just powerful people.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a Hoyt. What's cool about the Hoyts is Hoyts are powerful people with money, so possible donors or lobbyists, type of
political,
money.
Attorney General.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot going on.
And
there.
I mean, a small town, if you have money, you probably run the town, and especially since that chicken farm is probably employment for most of the people there.
Yeah,
they've got this kind of pool.
Yeah.
All right. Next thing we're talking about, Amelia shows up with a box of goodies from the school to give to Mom Lucy.
Mm-hmm.
While they're in there talking, Mom talks about how she has the soul of a whore, cold, and she has a .38 revolver ready, and she doesn't have the courage. Are we talking about committing suicide here?
Yes.
Just making sure.
Wonder where the courage comes from to not kill herself.
So, do you think it's important that we name the caliber of a handgun? Are we going to find out that somebody died from a .38 caliber round later on and think, is there anything here? Are we going to find out that Dan O'Brien has a .38 hole, bullet hole in his head? I mean, do we feel like that is important that she said .38?
Yes and no.
I don't think so.
I mean, I think we're going to find out somebody died by it, and it's going to be her gun. But I don't think it's going to be that important that we knew she had the gun.
I don't know. To me, it was just, I don't know.
I mean, I think it gets used.
I think the comment that I've done horrible things,
that
I've done a horrible thing is the more important thing.
That makes me think that the kid definitely isn't Tom's.
Yeah. That's easily could be.
It could be. I think it's one of two things. Either because she makes it that I ran around on him all the time, which means the kids aren't his, or that she was affiliated with whatever happened to the kids. That just kind of throws the angle at Dan O'Brien. You know what I'm saying? Because you remember this. This comments are made right after the viewer sees the photos of Dan O'Brien's mysterious death. Mm-hmm. You follow what I'm saying? So the timing of her conversation is pretty damn important considering you just learned his death.
Yeah, but it could easily be what she's talking about is that Will is not Tom's son.
I agree, but I also think they did it on purpose to say maybe she was involved.
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, the man on fire scenario where a parent is involved, you know what I mean? Very easy for me. But I feel like it's going to come out. It's about Will's parentage.
Yeah, I think that's
what I feel it's going to go.
Well, wait, is it Will's parentage or was it the girls?
Will's.
Okay.
Do you think we're ever going to hear something later on where DNA testing proves that Will was not Tom's?
Yeah,
I mean the fact that even the director says, you know what happened to Julie and her father. You know, I'm just like, that just makes total sense to me that it's obviously not Tom. You know, what I mean?
Okay. Or you think they're going to cement that later on, or you think that's just?
I think they have to. I mean, I've got the soul of a whore, all this kind of stuff. Wait,
Julie and her father. It is Julie's.
Yeah,
parentage.
okay, that's what I was thinking.
That's it. It's Julie's parentage, not Will's. I'm sorry. Will is Tom's. Mm-hmm. Julie's the one that's questionable.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's what she's talking about, and I do think we're going to find out. You know,
later.
Maybe it's not who the dad was, but that it's not Tom.
Not Tommy.
Yeah.
All right.
But also, we get the payoff of Tom, what Roland did for Tom 5 years ago, or
whatever, in the 80s.
Yeah, in the 80s, in that 5 year period and everything, where he's been sober. He went and picked him up at the bar, didn't throw him in jail.
Right. Got a soft thought for the dad. Yeah.
And so, I mean, it was nice to have that payoff right after in the next episode and not have to worry about it.
Once again, this actor playing Tom,
broken.
Dude, crushes it, man.
Oh, yeah.
Crushes it.
There ain't no doubt. There ain't no doubt. There is a small thing where you see that Hayes watches this video for hours and hours and hours, and he believes he's caught an image of Julie.
Mm-hmm. Yes. A girl who looks frantic in the Walgreens.
Correct. And I think her being frantic in there, I think that says a lot.
But understand, though, this is not the day of the robbery. They're saying this is like 5 days leading up to the day.
Correct.
So it's like, she's just come there a couple times, casing the place maybe or something. Don't know.
Here's one thing about that. They found fingerprints. You know,
doesn't mean it's from the day of the robbery.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. But not only that, if you're watching video footage, wouldn't you want to see where was this fingerprint lifted? And wouldn't you want to look for the video that shows a person touching that spot?
Well, if you look at all the video angles are pointing at the same aisle.
Yeah, they're all down.
So they know where the fingerprint was. It's looking at that aisle.
Right.
So they don't think that the prints.
The video doesn't show her touch anything. Did you notice that?
It just shows her already holding stuff.
And it actually makes total sense. The fact that they're showing 5 days before the robbery doesn't mean the prints happened the day of the robbery.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be any of the days. So,
but I mean, for the prints to last 5 days and everything would be pretty impressive.
It'll last until you wash them away.
Wash your away.
You're telling me you don't think this Walgreens in Arkansas is cleaning it regularly and everything? Come on, guys. This is Arkansas.
First of all, you said the word Arkansas and clean in the same sentence.
Yeesh.
Yeah,
sorry to Arkansas.
Okay. Y'all have convinced me.
I'm just, look, we're from Mississippi. Look, have you been to a Walgreens in Country Town, Mississippi?
Absolutely.
Yeah, thousands.
Okay, so
they're fine.
Go to your local Walgreens, people.
We are sponsored by Walgreens.
To hell with CVS.
Home of the 24-hour photo.
Oh, my gosh. All right. Now, one of the coolest things this episode I really, really liked, Old Man Hayes talking to the recorder, and he turns around and goes, "Oh, not you. Oh, not now."
How many times did we stop this and be like, "Oh, what does this person look like? Oh, did they have something to do with it?"
You see the Viet Cong soldiers coming up, and then you see a woman with a bullet hole in her forehead, and then you see a guy in a suit, which you can assume is a cop. He's got a hole in his chest.
Hole in his chest.
And
he apologizes to that one.
Yeah.
He says sorry.
And then goes over to the window, and they're just following him in the room.
Yep.
I'm just like, just in total amazement here.
He's haunted by this.
And so he's looking out there and he goes, it's a Chevy or a Lincoln. And he turns around and talks to him and says, they still make Lincolns?
Mercury.
Or Mercuries or whatever like that, and turns around and goes, it's dark gray under the moon. A cool line. I mean, wow. It's just such a cool scene, man.
How do you even think about creating this scene? And I have no idea, but I'm glad he did. Because like you said, like the turning around and talking to him, like, hey guys, why don't you hop on Google? Mercury's still around?
Yeah.
And it's like shots fired at Mercury. Do they still make Mercuries?
No.
No.
I don't think so.
I don't
know. It was just a really cool scene. It was really well done.
Yeah. Do we think that any of these people are going to show up in the show? Obviously this agent, or who we assume is an agent, we think could potentially...
Well, I can think whoever this guy who's shot in his chest, it could be what happens after the end of the show, cut our nuts off, right before the Claymore went off.
But I don't think he would be apologizing for that also. So I don't necessarily think he's going to be in that scene. Could be wrong.
True.
Not necessarily.
You just don't know, though. Until we get to see what happened at that house.
We've seen Hayes and West drag dudes out to barns and beat the shit out of them.
Yeah.
So they obviously play a little fast and loose with the law. So it could be somebody like that. You know what I mean? It could be somebody like that. They just drug out and greased. No telling.
Yeah. And
I don't know about the chick with a bullet in her forehead. That doesn't.
Yeah, like to me that
ring bells for
that
anything.
was. We paused it. I was like, oof.
Yeah, I initially wanted to say she was wearing a yellow mask, but then I was like, oh no, that's just a bullet hole.
Here's the other thing too: is that all those people, they were just soldiers. Mm-hmm. The only people who had wounds of death were the two white folks. Did you notice that?
That's true.
Yeah, but we can always assume that the Vietnamese soldiers were
just shot, dead.
Whatever.
But here's the deal: I don't think he knew any of them personal. He just is haunted by the vision of what they look like. The two people who had actual gun wound holes were just something maybe was a personal connection.
Yeah, that he recognized.
I recognize. That's why he went to the one. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know.
I know what you're saying. But I was like,
don't know. We don't have enough facts.
Don't have enough facts on that.
Not even close.
Again, there was a quick scene where, old Hayes goes to the police station and sees his son. He's like, hey, can you look some people up? Don't make this a habit. I'm looking for Roland, if he's still alive, blah, blah, blah. So obviously in the next episode, we're going to probably get to meet old Roland, current Roland, if you want to call it, 2015.
You would think, and once again, the director and their son both asked the same question. Are you working this case again?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting point.
He tells his son, it just helps me.
Yeah, this for
personally.
This is what makes me want to get up and stay alive in the morning and everything.
It keeps me alive. This is like what a lot of people talk about their hobbies and when they retire. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But
when he tells her, he's just saying it's for my memory, right?
Well, he's saying he just has to fill in these gaps.
Yeah.
He's like, he can't.
I'd like to know the whole story. It's been part of my whole life.
Yeah. He says it's my life. He needs to know. He even says, Roland, I need his memory.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Very true. Very, very true. So, of course, the trash guy goes by and talks to his kids. We're all watching it, and we're all like, this is total setup.
Yep.
Shout out to a cool Dr. Pepper can, though.
Yeah.
Kind of wish we could bring that one back.
2 cents for a can. I'll give you a cent.
I'll give you a penny next time I come by. Yeah, you remember, things were really cheap.
Well, yeah, because I was thinking, I always remember seeing 5 cents for the can on the back of it. And I was like, man, only getting 2. Getting ripped off here, man.
So, of course, Scrap Guy, he sees him coming. He's running like a champion,
Love the kicking off of the boots.
Oh, yeah. He's on point.
And showing his bloody feet running.
Yes. As he's running.
He even left a bloody footprint on the asphalt they showed us before he got into his house.
He did a great job of that.
Good details. On point. So, I'll give props. My brother called it. Guns and explosives. And he still had claymores.
Grenades.
Which is forward-facing explosive.
Enemy.
And his house was triggered and ready to go. He had
tripwire. He's putting all his rifles on windows, setting them up with an extra clip on the floor.
Yep.
He's
ready to move around and everything.
To throw it out on siege.
So And so let me tell you, I was licking my chops. Like, I can't wait to see this. Now, I did think that the cops got there so quick.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how close the station is or anything, but it was
quick. You know what I mean? No, these guys roll up with guns, and then a call gets made that, hey, something's going down at the Scrap Man's house. And before they're getting out of their vehicles or just getting to the door to talk, there's 5 cop cars there. It was a little thin to me that how fast they got
really
there.
Thin.
An odd detail to be sketchy about with this type of shit.
Mm-hmm. To me, you could say
I'd like to call to have been 2 trucks loaded with guys with guns or chasing
a man down the street.
Or chasing the Scrap Man.
But I mean, even still, there was no way we were going to make this seem plausible just with how it was chased down, unless we see him outside just yelling.
Even then, if you saw him run down the road, them getting there is still too early.
Yeah, I mean, because this is in day and age with cell phones or anything. Like, someone would have had to have seen it, run inside.
Here's what you do: is you have the guys out the door, and you're like, you better come out.
Yeah, you just have them screaming. And you have this
outside. This build up. You know what I mean? Hey John, you go around this way, going this way. You stand over here. Make it where they're surrounding the place, and you have that drawn out. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And make it feel that.
We have him coming out ready to kick in the door 3 seconds after he gets out of the truck and everything. And
that's the thing is they pull up and all the guys are just getting out of the trucks and walking up to the house.
This is the one flaw of the episode that the timing was it was a little off.
A little wonky, yeah.
A little wonky on the situation.
But I'm not going to dwell on it.
No. But I mean, right before we get here, we have the interrogation, which had a lot of humor in it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's going
to... You always go to that, that rape stuff like that, man. Something I need to know.
Tell me.
Oh, man.
What's his name?
It's Freddie Burns.
Freddie Burns. They did a good job walking him past his buddies in the other interrogation rooms. So he's already freaking out.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, here's our Patsy. This is our Patsy. 4 episodes in, this is the first guy who has physical evidence connected to the missing children.
Yeah, and we were right. We were right on this being the bicycle.
Correct. He was playing on
the Devil's and everything.
So to me, they're going to turn this guy to the Patsy. I could totally see the next episode of the political pressure of he was at the scene. We got Prince on the bike. It wasn't far from the crime scene. Whatever you want to say it.
And it would explain why his family wants to reopen the case and everything.
I can't believe I totally forgot about this. Massive clue. Will was looking for his sister and wouldn't stop bugging them trying to find her.
That makes
sense.
He
was not in the same place as she was.
Ooh,
and
man,
the whole time we saw them ride off together, but somewhere how they got separated.
They get separated, and he obviously finds her at the place where they play with this aunt or whatever.
Well, he might not have.
Or maybe not. Don't know. But if you remember...
But that's where he died. So, I mean, that's where you see...
he ends up in that location.
Yeah,
because that's where you see the head wound and the hair on the wound and so on. And so he ends up there.
Also his dice.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's like...
So maybe the sister doesn't even have anything to do with putting his hands and stuff like that.
Don't know.
I mean, you bring it up that
but I just think
separated.
I just forgot that's... I didn't even think about it, but that's a massive clue.
No, I think that's huge right there.
That he chases them off, and for like 30 minutes, that he wouldn't leave them alone. You know what I mean? Or whatever, how long. He said he wouldn't leave them alone, and then...
he got lost in the woods for 30
Freddie
minutes.
Freddie got lost for 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. And I think he's telling the truth.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he had anything. Yeah, I mean, you're drunk and everything. You chase somebody.
Could we speculate here that they were this was at night. This was at dark, and that Will was going to their place. But when it got dark, as we've seen, you can't see anything unless you have a flashlight. Show that in the first episode. Do you think he lost his balance? He fell, hit this rock, and he died. And then the sister finds it later. And then they decide to do that as they leave? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like,
no.
Do you think Will died by force?
I think it's possible he died by accidental force. Like, trying to protect his sister.
Well, I mean, now it might not even be that. Just trying to, like, hey, where's my sister? To an adult or something, and they just push him too hard and he stumbles.
Yeah. I don't know if he died. It doesn't seem to me he dies violently because it seems like the sister has something to do with how he was placed and the dolls and everything like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
It makes me think that she was somehow okay with how he died. More than likely torn up about it, but not blaming somebody for how he died.
Well, I hate to go back to the preacher now, but do we think he possibly could have had something to do with, like maybe he was the one playing with them and everything?
If you want to go down our suspect list and go ahead and talk about preacher number one, I mean he doesn't even tinkle the radar to me.
I mean, he didn't until Jake just made me start thinking about the kids being separated.
To me, it's almost I almost have this weird feeling that something happened between the boy and the girl, and that the girl didn't want to go home since her brother is dead now. And that's the reason the boy was the way it is. For all you know, the boy fell and killed him, died. She got help from whoever their mysterious friend is to put the body where it is, and then got out of Dodge. And that for all we know, the bad guy is the girl. That Julie caused her brother's death and doesn't want to be in town or seen because she's afraid she'd go to jail. And, took her secret friend to help her get out of Dodge.
I don't know. Like I said, we don't have the facts yet.
No.
So it's okay to not know exactly how the thing went down, but I do think it's massively important that Will did not know where she was that night.
I agree with you 100%.
So I think that kind of shakes things up a little bit, as far as the timing of when they got, when he died. I mean...
All right, whoa, time out. Remember, they said you were gone for 30 minutes before you were with your boys. So that was in daylight. That doesn't make sense.
No. At night.
Was it at night when he was talking about it?
He says he had a few beers and was chased him into the woods and got lost. And then he said that he didn't come back for 30 minutes. His friend saying he was gone for 30 minutes while we were at the park.
Okay, all right. Let's make sure we're clear on that.
Yeah,
I was confused on timeline there.
No.
That was that night because you remember the first episode. You see him playing on that bike,
doing it
at night.
Yeah, right. Okay.
I'm just so
Patsy.
We need to like you said, let's jump into the suspect stuff because the preacher guy, I'm gonna say nothing. I'm 0% on him only because he gave the clue of the ant. He gives the clue that she was excited to go play with some ant or whatever like that. It's like
right, but I mean the reason that's important. I don't mean to cut you off. Is that remember O'Brien? They call him uncle, but he was really just a cousin. Mm-hmm. Remember that? So, to me, they associate an older person who is friendly family of long term, and they as a word of endearment or family, thus aunt. So I totally could see that.
Oh, my kids call, my friends, my close friends, uncle this and uncle that. I mean, it's just the way it is. It's a term of endearment in a way.
But, I mean, there's not a girl in the picture with this family that we could even think of that could be the aunt. And so, I mean, the preacher could just be making this person up.
Except for fucking Halloween decorations.
Yeah, she wasn't in this episode.
Yeah, I mean, she wasn't in this episode.
We did see Lucy, and she wasn't around.
Yes.
That's correct. That is crazy. The Halloween decoration woman, neighbor, was not in the episode.
So, I mean,
do we want to say that she has the potential of being this aunt?
It's possible. I mean,
she's in the house.
Hey, she's in the house.
Yeah, I mean, she's in the house.
The other guy was in the house. The associations are there. It's possible. To me, it gives you a little more credence to the neighbor.
It would have tripped me out if when we were panning through the church crowd,
the neighbor
was sitting in there, and we just didn't pick up on it.
I want to go back and watch right now.
I did too.
Damn it!
Let's see if she's in there.
Oh my god!
Maybe she was sitting right next to Lori.
I swear to God, if they did that and we didn't pick it up,
I'm just saying, like, it makes me want to do that so I could just see.
If there's anybody out there who's watched the episode or you saw this, please message us. I'm gonna go back and watch too anyway. But to me, that would be awesome.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell you something else. If she is in that congregation through that pan and we missed it, but she is in there. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, the radar just went through the roof.
99.999%. Burning hot.
Burning hot association.
The Germex seal of approval right there.
I mean, that would be epic. Absolutely epic.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I didn't see it, but I think it'd be cool if we, because it's just something they would show you.
Yeah.
In the last episode, they'd show you that little sequence again, and you would just spot her, and you'd be like, "Mother!"
Well, she might want to take that fork and stab yourself in the neck, like mother. You know it's gonna hurt, but you know it's gonna kill you. Yeah. Okay. All right. So we've all been tingling in the idea of Amelia. Let's just go ahead and dive into Amelia. Do we still feel like Amelia is the top suspect? I'm with Cash a lot. I feel like she is. The whole Nightcrawler possibility angle, the writing the book, her reaction to Hayes when he says that he's back on the case, her being her majority of the episode and everything.
Her leading it to be accidental and everything. I mean, there's just so many things pointing towards her that there's no way I can let her off the hook yet. And
Jake, you brought up a good point, though. As much as all these clues associate that she could be involved, it's also the same clues that could associate that she is just a person who's taking knowledge to write a good book.
Yeah, taking advantage.
You know what I mean? So it could be a great herring just on that point alone. I don't know.
I'm still leaning towards yes.
I'm kind of with you. To me, again, it goes to who would be the funnest ending.
And Amelia right now is the funnest ending.
Yeah, to me, I agree with that. All right, so the high school kids, how much do we want to believe that they're actually involved?
I'm 0% on them. I don't.
Yeah,
based on him looking like he peed himself and cried all over his shirt, I'm gonna say
I don't see it. I don't see it either.
But I mean, I do agree with you. He goes to jail for it.
Yeah, he's the patsy. There's no doubt. There's zero doubt on that one.
Well, now, come on. Now, there's more. There's some doubt.
Yeah,
we don't know. We don't know it's him.
I mean, they could have accidentally killed Will, but I don't think they did or anything.
Well, he sounds like he was alone, and he said he got lost in the woods. And yeah, is that thin? Yes, but I think it's thin on purpose so that he couldn't be the patsy. That's just how I feel about it. Okay, I'll be pissed if he is the bad guy. I mean, to me, it's
no. I don't think he's the bad guy, and I'm just not sure he's the patsy.
Right.
Yeah, it's very possible he's the patsy. I mean, it would make sense. He's young enough to still be alive in 2000, whatever, or in the 90s to say, the family wants him removed.
Well, it's 35 years. It's 35 years later.
Yeah, it makes sense. No, it's not 35 years later.
No, it happens in 80. Then it goes to 90, and then it goes to 2015.
In the 90s are when they're asking for him to be
correct. Yeah. Well, he'd be 28. Yeah.
So, but it makes sense. The family. I mean, he would have older family, younger family, and stuff.
Your mom and dad are still going to be fighting for you, and if you're telling them you're innocent, they're going to be like, "Yeah, my son's innocent."
Yeah. So I could easily see it is him. I could see it, no problem.
You just want confirmation for it.
But I just can't. I can't say there's 0% doubt because the show gives you nothing but doubt.
Right. Yes. All right. Do we think Scrapman's involved at all?
Not at all.
No. I mean, after Scrapman's not going to be around much longer. So
all right. Do we think that Roland West is involved in any way?
No.
Do we think Tom the dad is involved in any way?
No.
Do we think Lucy, the mother, is involved in any way?
I think she's just guilt-ridden. So I'm going to go with no. Jake over here.
There's a little.
There is just a
5% saying her and this uncle maybe. I just don't see it though. It is.
The weird thing is the uncle being killed.
Yeah.
Okay. If we find out that Lucy, who overdoses 8 years later,
is not an accidental overdose.
Wasn't an accidental overdose, and then Dan O'Brien's buried in a quarry somewhere. If these are people who have knowledge of the crime being silenced or eliminated or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
This goes into the conspiracy theory.
Right. So if powerful people are removing, this is what Hayes is talking about. Mm-hmm. Maybe we're not the only ones looking for Julie.
So this goes back to the other theory we had the other time, Cash. What that is that let's just say here's a wild theory for you. Right. All right. Lucy and her cousin help get rid of, get a kid gone, right? And the Hoyts want them, and so when the Hoyts get them, they remove all possibilities or witnesses, this or so on, that was involved with it. She has an OD. Dan O'Brien gets buried in a quarry. who has the ability to make that stuff go away, in the political powerhouse to make sure that the new district attorney, general attorney, whatever you want to call it, is in place to make sure that things stay the way they should be. Blah blah blah. You follow what I'm saying?
Well, and most importantly, have a reason for it because, as we said, they just lost their daughter and they want to replace that daughter.
And these so like that theory holds water with the political corruption and the big dogs, which also falls in line with how Pizzolatto does his stories.
It gained a stronger foundation this episode, I feel.
If I'm going towards which, theory I have the most weight under, it's not Amelia, it's the Hoyts. And the reason I say that is because it's like upscale brown sedan. It's like,
I mean, it fits
it just fits to me to prey on white trash or, poor communities. You know what I mean? To find children of the people that work for you. You know what I mean?
And it just fits True Detective way better because we've seen season 1 and season 2. And they fit that narrative of the powerful people that can just get away with things.
Something that could also the Hoyts, I mean, they could. Is it possible they could have, did they lose their daughter or their granddaughter?
Their daughter, I do believe.
I think it's their daughter.
I think it's their daughter. Okay. I mean,
Hoyt is on safari
in Africa.
Yeah, come on.
I'm talking about perfect alibi.
Right. These people have some money and some clout and stuff like that, and I'm just like,
all right. Plus, we know that there's people somebody who's lost an eye, who's worked the chicken line possible. These clues were put in there. This could be somebody who drives a car for somebody of power and influence, a nice uppity car.
Hayes even asked, look for
more identifiers and everything.
People that worked at the chicken line that had a bust up eye or lost time for injury or whatever it was he said.
Correct, right.
And priors.
This would be somebody who would know Lucy and possibly Dan O'Brien. And so, like, those fingers, those strings all connect for the big conspiracy of big power taking a child.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
And it still could end up being his daughter because Tom even ends up saying she was sleeping with her boss.
Oh, yeah. She whores around all the time, she says. Not just with her boss at the saddle horse or whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah.
Sawhorse.
So she could have had an affair with Mr. Hoyt.
Yeah, I mean, this could be Hoyt's daughter.
This could be Hoyt's real daughter.
Yes. And that's what I'm getting at is it's not necessarily, you think season 1, you think season 2, it wasn't all politicians. It was just people with power and influence, money. You know what I mean? So it's like Hoyt could just be on the same level as the attorney general fella. You know what I'm saying? Like they're just protecting each other or whatever the case.
Very much.
Because remember, the first one, the crooked spiral and all that stuff, it's a pedophile perversion ring. You know what I'm saying? I easily see them preying on these poor communities and stuff like that, thinking they're people that
100%,
wouldn't be missed, people that can't spend money to get things done. You know what I mean? Easily. So that's what I'm on, is the Hoyt thing, is that it's going to come back somehow with that kind of money influence stuff.
I can very easily see it being
I can easily see it that way. There's no doubt on that.
Especially if we start getting more about the Ozarks Children's Center and everything.
Yeah, I just think it's weird. It's too convenient. But that's the thing too. Maybe it's too convenient. But they just keep dropping these little tiny nuggets.
And it just fits the premise of what the show has shown us in seasons past.
Yeah. It fits the MO. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's just the bottom line. I mean,
and as jacked up, disgusting as it may sound, is I can
see it happening.
You can easily get rid of a body in a meat processing plant. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something we're not talking about, but it's like,
we've seen it in plenty of movies and shows.
Seen it in movies and shows where they find the nearest, wood chipper or whatever the case may be, grind up bodies and stuff.
Hey, I mean, and if you've already
saw it in Fargo, season 2.
Or the original movie.
Yeah.
And if you have that, I mean, you just double dip, You've got some chicken meat, a little bit of human meat.
Lord. What is in a chicken nugget?
Could
Unless it's Chick-fil-A, we have no idea.
Could be Uncle Dan for all we know.
Well, I mean, personally, I can't think of any other theory or
anything that we missed.
Yeah, because we've done the whole Amelia thing. We've done the Hoyt angle. We've done it if the parents were. We've done it if the boys were in it. the church angle, the neighbor, Halloween decoration, bastard neighbor,
So, I mean, if we miss anything, guys, please feel free to hit us up on Twitter or Facebook. We love having these conversations with y'all. And y'all get our juices flowing and start looking at theories a little bit different.
Yeah, if you've got one out there, hit us, and we'll dissect it with the clues we've got so far. So on. Well, guys, before we get into the previews, which some people don't like that, and so on, we'll do a pause for that, so on. We do want to let you know that this isn't our only pod kicking right now. We are doing something new. We are doing a Netflix show, Punisher Season 2. It is out, and it is just called The Punisher by BleedTV. We have done the first half of the season, episodes 1 through 3, and episodes
4, 5, 6.
4, 5, 6. And we're about to dive into another episode to kind of wrap up the rest of the season. So if you've been watching Punisher, or if you have not, we suggest it. It is a good show. And so you can catch up with us that way. But we also have The Walking Dead coming out in February. We've done Walking Dead for years, and we're going to check out this second half of this season as well. And so we'll have a pod out for that. As well as Into the Badlands, another show we do. And then, of course, one of the best and all-time favorites, Game of Thrones, come out in April. So if you enjoy listening to us on these pod, make sure you look for these coming up and in the future. But other than that, guys, I think we're going to call it. We're going to have a short break and go into previews. So if this is it for you, we appreciate you joining us. So here's our break.
All right.
I think that's long enough.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, previews. Wow. Long and extensive and full of goodies.
Yes.
They go back to 1990. You see Roland and Hayes go through the town. They say, well, this town's died. And then Hayes goes, no, this town was murdered. To me, that just speaks more to the theory of big business coming in and doing something that has murdered the town, that cleaned up, whatever you know,
I just saw more that the murder of Will pretty much killed the town. I didn't see this big business at all.
Or the crime of this. Yeah. The decade shook the town so much.
Yeah, okay.
You got to understand. Yeah, Will and Julie go missing, right? Will dies. Trash Man obviously kills
a good bit of
them. A good pile of folks. A lot of dads of children in this area.
Correct.
So it's like, I think this crime led to bigger things, including a patsy for what happened.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So I think this one crime ruined this entire city.
As you can see in this preview, there was a quick second of watching what was left of the front door, which there was not a front door.
Yes.
And we counted at least 3 of the dad's bodies, one agent, one cop in a suit on the ground, and you see Hayes looking through the hole in the wall.
Yeah.
Wow, the special
mayhem.
Effects.
Yeah,
mayhem.
Awesome.
Body parts, dudes in pieces. It's disgusting. You don't get to see West in the picture, but you see enough.
Yeah.
I can't wait. The director makes a comment in one of the previews that says all the witnesses from that era are gone or vanished.
Everyone involved in the
case
is dead or vanished, right?
Right.
Well, she's
gone or vanished.
She just says everyone involved is gone or vanished.
Correct.
So we assume that that's involved on this case because that's what she's working on.
Mm-hmm. Correct. And evidently she has more information, which we have not been divulged everything. That's going to be paramount to whatever the final conclusion is going to be.
Yeah.
They show a quick scene of these machines covered in plastic. Now, here's the thing. First thought, we're like, well, that could have been the machine shop. But then, Jake, you said it, man. Why do you cover a machine? It's to keep it clean, sanctified like that, or so on. There was like that. This has got to be what we think. What, the chicken line?
Yeah, the grinders.
Something that the
I
Hoyt
feel like
food.
This is the chicken line.
So to me, this makes the Hoyt food theory tingle.
Yeah.
Very much so. Why would you show this? This could be a scene of a body being disposed, or the place where a person worked. You never know. That right there was a big deal. You see Amelia in like half of these scenes. And a couple of them look like she's running for her life. She goes, where have you been all night? Like things have gone down that were...
No, the where have you been all night is Hayes burning his clothes in a drum in the backyard. Because Hayes and West have been up to no good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you do see a quick scene of them beating up somebody at the old barn, but it's at night.
The old punching post.
And it is a white person.
Could it be the pedophile again?
I don't think so this time.
Okay, because I mean, you just get him like crunched over, so you don't really get a good look.
You don't
at
get
the
enough
guy.
good view, but
and we don't even know what era it is because we got nothing.
Because Roland looks the same.
no,
from
it's
80 to 90.
80s.
Yeah.
It looks
80s.
like blonde Roland.
It looks like blonde Roland. Not short hair Roland. It's blonde Roland.
Okay,
But I'm thinking it's the 90s. All because of what we saw in this episode, where Hayes stops him and goes, "You ain't planning on doing what they just said." And he goes, "No."
and this is why he's going to be a little bit dirtier.
I think they continue
Yeah.
their ways. Now that they're back together.
well into another decade.
Yeah.
All right. The big scene, which we're not positive on, shows a picture of Amelia sitting on a bed looking at a girl who looks to be an older Julie across from her on a bed, like in a dorm room or a hospital place.
I mean, it
or
just
something.
looks like a bedroom to me.
This looks like a bedroom.
Like,
But
just
it's
in
two
a house
beds.
and
Actually,
everything.
I know, but it looks like a loft bedroom.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Where they just kind of put a couple beds in for a spare room for kids or something like that.
So, and this is Amelia with long hair. So this is 90.
This is 90s.
I mean, and Julia looks like the girl from the video security
It does.
tape.
It looks
that
like the
we
girl
saw
from the
earlier.
security tape. What are we supposed to think from this, man? Are we saying that is Julie?
I think so.
I don't think it's going to be next episode. I think this is going to be a later one.
Okay.
I think it's probably Julie. And it's possible that maybe the guys they kill, West and Hayes end up murdering in the woods or whatever at the barn or something, is the guy that she's with that's keeping her hidden or something. You know what I mean? They beat the shit out of him, trying to get answers.
And he won't give her up or anything. Okay.
Or maybe he just doesn't fucking know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
always possible.
That's what I assume, is that he really just didn't know. But they can't accept that. You know what I mean? Like, how the hell do you not know?
Yeah, it's
You know?
like, I mean, we've got our teeth sunk into you. You know something.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I don't know, man.
But, I mean, and
I
that's
don't
pretty
know.
much the preview, right?
No, it's one other thing.
one thing
The
at the
thing he
very end.
says, we listened to it like 5 times.
I still didn't hear case necessarily.
Someone gave her
Well,
the
the
case.
case. Someone gave her the case. You think you heard the keys. Someone gave her.
I thought I heard keys.
I heard case.
Yeah, I heard case both times.
And to me, that makes me feel like
'Cause it's like-
that could be old Hayes telling somebody, giving it to the director. It could be
Someone gave it to
90s
Amelia.
Hayes saying somebody gave it to Amelia.
Or it could be a suitcase. Somebody gave Julie the case.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Because they did find a suitcase with toys in it.
I mean, this could be anything.
Well, they found a backpack with toys
No,
in
they
it.
found a backpack and then they found a little case with the girls' toys in it, didn't they?
I don't remember.
No, I don't remember one bag that had the toys in
I
it.
swear I remember another bag. It was like a girl's style bag that had toys in it, but I might be wrong on that.
Well, I mean, like there was like that old like shopping bag and everything, the Hoyt that they found in the bedroom, but
Not that one, no.
No.
There was only one bag at the crime scene. But yeah, I mean that makes me tingle quite a bit on the, that's all that is set on purpose. You know what I mean? It's truly set on purpose.
I mean, it's a voiceover in this thing for a reason, and I'm thinking it's someone handed.
There's only two prominent females, and it's Amelia and the director, as far as covering the case.
Very
Correct.
True.
Correct. So it's like
And who would benefit
if it's
from it?
case, then that sounds like it's one of them too. And she does have a lot of files. The director does.
I mean, she had a whole like freaking filing cabinet back there. Of,
She had a
let
litter.
me go over here and we'll just grab the D's. old Dan.
Old Danny boy. Danny didn't look too good. He lost some weight, but he was.
But we do get the Roland West scene again. Old West,
Yes.
2015 West, saying, "You know what you did." You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's like,
And man, does Roland
Checkered
look-
past.
and the thing is, I think it's going to be, you know what you did is them killing each other. I don't think Roland means that he wasn't involved.
Yeah.
But remember, he doesn't have the memory. He's asking Roland, "What did we do? What did we do?" You know what you did. You know what I mean?
I kind of have this crazy theory that the guy who has the gunshot wound in his chest or the woman who has the hole in her head is the reason you see clothes being burned or you see you know what you did or things of that nature. Like it was a mistake. Something went wrong.
I definitely think they kill somebody in the barn or in the woods or like that, and that's why he's burning his clothes. But I don't know if it has anything to do with the guy in the suit or the chick with the shot in her head. I can't see why they would shoot a chick in the head. I just can't see it.
Well, she could be collateral damage. You know what I'm saying?
Unless they didn't show her very well and it's the Halloween decoration chick. But it's not.
She was awfully tall.
Yeah, she was a tall drink of water.
Didn't feel that one. And so on. Now, if she was in the background with the hole in her head, my radar would be like,
but yeah, I don't know.
That'd have been epic.
That's about it, though.
Yeah, I think that's about it, guys. Really enjoyed the season. Appreciate y'all joining us. Again, if you got a few seconds to give us a positive review on iTunes, we really, really appreciate it. Or your favorite podcast app. It always helps us. And I think we'll just call it a night. And so this is True Detective Podcast by BleedTV. I'm Zach.
I'm Jake.
And I'm Cash.
And we'll see you guys next week.